Commander Jason Boyd stood at the window of the space station, looking at the stars. He had been in space for 3 months now. The mission was supposed to be simple: meet the aliens, make friends, go home. No one had told him he might never see Earth again. "Commander Boyd, the Velsari delegation has arrived," said Lieutenant Kathy Green. Her voice was steady, but Jason could see the worry in her eyes. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll be right there." Jason straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Velsari, an alien race that had contacted Earth just 1 year ago. The meeting room was large, with a round table in the center. 5 humans sat on one side. On the other side were 5 empty chairs for the Velsari. Admiral Frank Nelson, the mission leader, nodded at Jason. "Remember the protocol," Admiral Nelson whispered. "No sudden movements, no showing teeth when you smile. They see that as a threat." The door slid open. The Velsari entered the room. They walked on 2 legs like humans, but that was where the similarity ended. Their skin was covered in small scales that shimmered in the light. Their faces had 4 eyes, 2 large ones in the front and 2 smaller ones on the sides. Instead of a nose, they had thin slits. Their mouths were small and round. The tallest Velsari wore a complex outfit with many layers of shiny material. This was Queen Nixara, the leader of their people. She sat down across from Admiral Nelson. "We welcome the human delegation," said Queen Nixara. Her voice came through the translator as smooth and female, though the actual sounds she made were clicks and whistles. "We hope this meeting will mark the beginning of a long friendship between our species. The people of Earth share that hope." Admiral Nelson replied. The meeting went well. They discussed trade, shared scientific knowledge, and cultural exchange. Jason took notes and spoke when asked questions about Earth's military structure. Everything seemed normal until the final hour. "There is one more matter to discuss," Queen Nixara said. Her 4 eyes blinked in an odd pattern. "As you know, we Velsari are part of the Galactic Alliance, which includes 27 spacefaring civilizations. The alliance is ruled by the Eternal Emperor, who sits upon the galactic throne." Admiral Nelson nodded. "Yes, you've mentioned this in our earlier communications. When a new species joins the alliance, they must provide tribute to the throne. This is our oldest tradition." The Queen's voice became more formal. "The tribute must be a living representative of your species. This person will serve at the Emperor's court." The room went silent. Jason looked at Admiral Nelson, whose face had turned pale. "Serve? For how long?" Admiral Nelson asked. "That is for the Emperor to decide," Queen Nixara replied. "It could be months. It could be years." "This wasn't mentioned in any of our talks before this meeting," said Dr. Allison Webb, the team's diplomat. "We need time to consider this request and speak with our government." Queen Nixara's scales rippled, a sign they later learned meant disappointment. "This is not a request. It is a requirement for all who wish to join the alliance. Without tribute, there can be no formal relations between our peoples." The human team asked for a break to discuss. In a private room, they argued about what to do. "We can't just give them one of our people," said Security Officer Greg Martinez. "We don't know anything about this emperor or what would happen to whoever goes." "But we need this alliance," Dr. Webb countered. "The technology they've offered could solve Earth's energy crisis. Their medical knowledge could cure diseases we've fought for centuries." Admiral Nelson rubbed his forehead. "We need to contact Earth for instructions." They sent a message to Earth, but the response would take hours. Meanwhile, Queen Nixara was waiting. Jason sat quietly, thinking about the situation. Then he surprised everyone, including himself. "I'll go," he said. Everyone turned to look at him. "Jason, no," said Kathy. "We don't know what you'd be getting into." "That's exactly why it should be me," Jason replied. "I'm a military strategist. I'm trained to observe, analyze, and report back. If someone has to go, I'm the best choice." "We haven't even decided if we're accepting their terms, Admiral," Nelson said. "We all know what Earth will say," Jason answered. "The benefits are too great to pass up." Someone will have to go, and it should be someone who volunteered. 6 hours later, the message from Earth arrived. As Jason had predicted, their orders were to accept the terms and proceed with the alliance. Earth had decided the potential benefits outweighed the risk to one person. "We'll send a replacement for Commander Boyd within the month," Admiral Nelson told the Queen when they resumed the meeting. Queen Nixara shook her head, a human gesture she had learned. "The tribute must be selected from those who made first contact. It is symbolic. It must be one of you 5. After more discussion, it was decided Jason would go. He was given 1 day to prepare. The next morning, Jason stood in the docking bay with a small bag of personal items. Admiral Nelson shook his hand. "We'll work on getting you back, Jason. 6 months, maximum." "I promise," Dr. Webb hugged him. "Be careful. Learn everything you can." Kathy was the last to say goodbye. "Don't do anything stupid," she said, trying to smile. "Don't start an interstellar war. I'll do my best," Jason promised. Queen Nixara led him onto the Valsari ship. It was unlike any spacecraft Jason had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with light. The corridors curved in ways that made no sense to human eyes. As they left the station, Jason watched through a clear panel as the human ship grew smaller. Soon Earth would just be another point of light in the black of space. "You are not a prisoner, Commander Boyd," Queen Nixara said. "You are a gift. A representative of humanity's best qualities." "How long will I serve the Emperor?" Jason asked. "That depends on many factors," she replied. "The throne has observed your species for centuries. You were chosen specifically based on your psychological profile. You show great adaptability and intelligence." Jason thought about this. "You've been watching us for centuries? The Alliance observes all developing worlds," she said. "Your planet has been of special interest. Why me specifically? Out of all humans?" Queen Nixara's scales changed color, slightly shifting to a deeper blue. "That is a complex question. The simple answer is that you fit the pattern the Emperor seeks in tributes." "And what happens to these tributes?" Jason asked. The Queen was quiet for a moment. "They serve," she finally said. "As will you." What she didn't tell him was that the last 3 species who had provided tribute to the throne had never seen their representatives again. As the ship accelerated toward the center of the galaxy, Jason looked out at the stars and wondered what awaited him at the court of the Eternal Emperor. "We will arrive in 3 of your Earth weeks," Queen Nixara said. "Use this time to learn about the Alliance and its customs. It will help you adjust to your new role." Jason nodded, his mind already working on how to survive, how to learn, and most importantly, how to eventually get back home. Whatever waited for him at the Galactic throne, he would face it with courage and determination, for Earth and for himself. 3 weeks on the Valsari ship felt like 3 months to Jason. Space travel with aliens was nothing like he had experienced before. The ship did not move in a straight line. It jumped through space in ways that made Jason's stomach turn each time. The food was strange, too. Everything tasted like salt and metal, even the water. Queen Nixara visited him each day to teach him about the Galactic Alliance. Jason learned about the 27 species that made up the Alliance. Some looked almost like humans. Others were so different that Jason could not understand how they even lived. There were beings made of gas, creatures that looked like walking plants, and some that were just blobs of light. "The throne is not what you might think," Queen Nixara told Jason on their final day of travel. "It is not just a seat of power, it is a place. A massive space station where the Emperor lives and rules." "How big is it?" Jason asked. "Your Earth could fit inside it," she said. Jason wasn't sure if she was joking. Her species did not have a sense of humor that he understood. The ship slowed down and Jason looked out the window. His mouth fell open. The Galactic throne was not just big, it was impossible. A massive structure floated in space. It had no clear shape. Parts of it twisted in ways that hurt Jason's eyes to look at. Tall spires reached out in all directions. Lights blinked across. Its surface like stars. "That can't be real," Jason whispered. It was built over 10,000 years ago, Queen Nixara said, before my species even left our planet. Their ship docked inside a bay that could have held 100 Earth ships. As Jason stepped off the ship, he saw aliens of all kinds moving. Through the area, some floated in the air. Others crawled along the walls. A few moved so fast they were just blurs. "Commander Boyd," a voice called out. Jason turned and saw a human woman walking toward him. She was tall with short gray hair and wore a blue uniform. "I'm Grand Ambassador Laurie Dixon," she said, reaching out to shake his hand. "I've been the human representative here for the past 2 years." Jason felt relief wash over him. "I didn't know there were other humans here." Ambassador Dixon gave him a small smile. "Just me. Earth and the Alliance have had unofficial contact for some time. Now with you here as tribute, we can make it official." Queen Nixara made a clicking sound. "I will leave Commander Boyd in." "Your care, Ambassador. The presentation to the Emperor will be in 3 days." After the Queen left, Ambassador Dixon led Jason through the station. They walked for what seemed like hours. The halls never ended. Some were wide enough for 20 people to walk side by side. Others were so small Jason had to duck. "You'll get lost for the first few months," Ambassador Dixon said. "Everyone does. The station changes sometimes. Rooms move, halls appear and disappear." "That's not possible," Jason said. "Nothing here follows Earth rules," she replied. "The sooner you accept that, the easier your time will be." Jason's room was small but comfortable. It had a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out into space. After Ambassador Dixon left, Jason sat on the bed and tried to process everything he had seen. A soft tone sounded and a voice spoke from nowhere. "Human Jason Boyd, your preparation will begin tomorrow at Station Dawn. Rest now." The next 3 days were filled with tests and lessons. Alien doctors examined every part of Jason's body. They took samples of his blood, skin, and hair. They measured his brain waves and heart rate. They made him run, jump, and lift weights. Other aliens taught him how to behave in the Emperor's court. He learned when to speak, when to bow, and what gestures were considered rude. He was given a translator implant behind his ear that would help him understand all Alliance languages. On the 3rd day, Ambassador Dixon came to his room with a package. "Your court clothes," she said, handing him the bundle. "Put these on. The ceremony starts in 1 hour." The outfit was strange. The pants were tight and made of a material that changed color when Jason moved. The shirt had no seams and seemed to flow around his body like water. A long coat with symbols he didn't understand completed the outfit. "Before we go, there are things you need to know," Ambassador Dixon said. Her voice was serious. "The Emperor is not like other rulers. He is ancient, older than any civilization we know of. Some say he's been alive for millions of years." "That's not possible," Jason said again. It was becoming his favorite phrase. "Remember what I said about Earth rules?" she replied. "The Emperor sees things differently than we do. Time, space, life, they all mean something different to him." "What will he expect from me?" Jason asked. "That's what we're all wondering," Ambassador Dixon said quietly. "No one knows why he asked for a human tribute. The last 3 species who sent tributes ... well, they never saw them again." Jason felt his heart beat faster. "You're telling me this now?" "I'm telling you so you'll be careful," she said. "Remember, don't speak unless spoken to. Don't make eye contact with the Emperor. And whatever happens, do not mention Earth's military capabilities." The throne room was the biggest space Jason had ever seen indoors. The ceiling was so high he couldn't see it. Thousands of aliens stood in circles around a central platform. Some floated in the air. Others were so large they made the room shake when they moved. Jason followed Ambassador Dixon through the crowd. The aliens moved aside, staring at him with eyes, tentacles, light sensors, and things Jason had no name for. Queen Nixara waited at the front. She wore an outfit that made her scales shine like rainbows. When she saw Jason, she motioned for him to stand beside her. "The Emperor will enter soon," she whispered. "Remember your training?" A sound like thunder filled the room. Everyone went silent. The air in the center of the platform began to swirl and glow. A shape formed in the light, a tall figure sitting on a floating chair. As the light faded, Jason saw the Emperor for the first time. He was not what Jason expected. The Emperor was covered in what looked like living metal. It flowed around his body like quicksilver, never staying in one shape for long. Where his face should be, there was only a smooth surface that reflected the light like a mirror. Queen Nixara stepped forward and bowed deeply. Great Emperor, ruler of the Alliance, I present to you the tribute from Earth. This is Commander Jason Boyd, chosen representative of humanity. The Queen motioned for Jason to step forward. He did, bowing as he had been taught. The Emperor made no sound, but suddenly Jason heard a voice in his head. It was deep and seemed to echo from very far away. We accept this tribute, the voice sighed. The human shall serve as the emissary of death. Gasps and murmurs spread through the crowd. Ambassador Dixon's face went pale. That's not what we expected, she whispered. Queen Nixara's scales changed color rapidly. She seemed surprised too. Emissary of death? Jason asked quietly, trying to keep his voice steady. Before anyone could answer, the Emperor raised a flowing metal hand. The voice in Jason's head spoke again. The human will begin his duties tomorrow. This gathering is concluded. As the Emperor disappeared in a swirl of light, Jason looked at Ambassador Dixon and Queen Nixara. Both seemed worried. What just happened? He asked. What does Emissary of Death mean? Queen Nixara's voice was low. I do not know. The Emperor has never given this title before. Is this good or bad? Jason asked. Ambassador Dixon put a hand on his shoulder. I don't know, Commander. But whatever it means, things have just become much more complicated. As they left the throne room, Jason noticed other aliens watching him with new interest. Some moved away from him. Others tried to get closer. Whatever an emissary of death was, it was clearly important. And Jason had no idea what would happen next. Jason did not sleep that night. He sat by the window in his room, looking out at the stars and wondering what emissary of death meant. Was he supposed to kill someone? Was he going to be killed? The title sounded scary, but he tried to stay. In the morning, a soft tone woke him from a light sleep. He had finally dozed off in the chair. Human Jason Boyd, your presence is requested in the learning chamber, said the voice from the walls. Please follow the lights to your destination. Small blue lights appeared on the floor. They made a path to the door and out into the hall. Jason washed his face, put on the strange clothes he had been given, and followed the lights. The path took him through parts of the station he had not seen before. After walking for 20 minutes, he came to a round door that opened as he approached. Inside was a large room with smooth white walls. In the center stood a tall alien with light purple skin and 6 arms. It had no visible eyes, just a smooth face with a small mouth. Welcome, emissary, the alien said. Its voice was soft and musical. I am Teacher Zol. I will explain your duties. Jason stepped into the room. The door closed behind him. What does emissary of death mean? Am I supposed to hurt someone? Teacher Zol made a sound like gentle bells. Jason realized it was laughing. No, emissary, you misunderstand. Your title is an honor, not a threat. The alien moved to a table where several objects sat. Sit, please, I will explain. Jason sat in a chair that formed out of the floor. It was surprisingly comfortable. Humans have a unique relationship with death, Teacher Zol said. Most advanced species in the Alliance have either eliminated death through technology or never experienced it as we understand it. Some exist as energy. Others transfer their minds to new bodies when old ones wear out. Some split into new beings when they get too old. But we all die eventually, Jason said. Yes, and that is what makes humans special, Teacher Zol replied. You know you will die. You live with that knowledge every day. You create art about death. You have religions about what happens after death. You celebrate the lives of those who have died. This fascination with mortality is rare among intelligent beings. Jason thought about this. So what does that have to do with me? The Emperor wishes you to teach others about human concepts of death, grief, and mortality. Many species in the Alliance have no understanding of these ideas. They find them both horrifying and fascinating. Relief washed over Jason. He wasn't going to be executed. He wasn't going to hurt anyone. He was just going to teach aliens about human ideas. "I'm not an expert on death," Jason said. "I'm a military strategist." "That is why you were chosen," Teacher Zoll said. "You understand death as part of your profession, yet you choose to face it with courage." The Emperor finds this quality valuable. For the next few days, Jason learned about his new role. He would meet with representatives from different species and explain human concepts like funerals, grief, memorials, and how the fear of death shaped human behavior. It was strange but interesting work. 1 week after his meeting with the Emperor, Jason was introduced to his assistant, Dr. Kyle Harper. Kyle was a human xenobiologist who had been working at the station for 5 years. "Good to see another human face," Kyle said, shaking Jason's hand. "Especially one that isn't Ambassador Dixon. She's so serious all the time." Kyle was tall with red hair and a friendly smile. He wore the same type of clothes as Jason but with different symbols. "How many humans are on this station?" Jason asked. "Just 3 now," Kyle replied. "You, me, and Dixon? There were 5 others, but they went back to Earth last year." This was good news. If others had gone back to Earth, it meant Jason might go home someday too. "What's your real job?" "Here?" Jason asked as they walked to his first official meeting. "I study alien biology," Kyle said. "Most species here are nothing like life on Earth. It's the best job in the universe for someone like me. What about you?" "How's being the emissary of death?" "Strange," Jason admitted. "Yesterday I spent 3 hours explaining the concept of gravestones to a species made of living crystal. They couldn't understand why we would use stones to remember the dead when the stones themselves aren't alive." Kyle laughed. "That's the Xerillians. They think everything should be alive or nothing at all. No middle ground with them." They arrived at a small meeting room where 3 aliens waited. One looked like a tall insect with 4 wings. Another was a floating ball of blue gas. The third was shaped like a human but had skin that glowed soft green. "Emissary of death, we welcome you," said the insect-like alien. "We have many questions about human death rituals." Jason spent the next 2 hours answering questions. The aliens were especially interested in how humans coped with knowing they would die someday. "We do not die as you do," said the gas alien. "When our energy fades, we join with others of our kind. We lose our individual self but continue as part of the whole. The idea of complete ending is difficult to understand. Many humans believe in an afterlife," Jason explained. "They think the self continues in some form after the body dies. Is this true?" asked the green-skinned alien. "I don't know," Jason said honestly. "No one knows for sure. That's part of what makes death both scary and important to humans. The mystery of it shapes how we live." The aliens found this idea fascinating. They asked more questions than Jason could answer. When the meeting ended, they thanked him with great respect. As Jason and Kyle left the meeting, they ran into Queen Nixara in the hall. She looked worried. "Emissary, I need to speak with you privately," she said. She glanced at Kyle. "Dr. Harper may join us. This concerns him too." They followed her to a small room. Once inside, she touched a device on her wrist. The air around them shimmered. "We can speak freely now," she said. "No one can hear us. What's wrong?" Jason asked. "I have not been entirely truthful about why I brought you here," the Queen said. Her scales shifted to a dark blue color. "My people, the Velsari, are dying. We have a genetic disorder that is killing us. Within 3 generations, we will be extinct." "I'm sorry," Jason said, "but what does that have to do with me?" "Human DNA might contain the solution," she said. "Your species has genetic diversity unlike any we have seen. That is the real reason I suggested you as tribute. I needed a human at the heart of galactic power." "You could have just asked for help," Kyle said. "The Alliance has strict rules about genetic modification," Queen Nixara replied. "What we need is forbiddance." But as emissary of death, Jason now has access to resources and information that could help us. Jason wasn't sure what to think. The Queen had tricked him, but for a reason he could understand. Her people were dying. There's something else you should know, Kyle said quietly. Earth hasn't heard from you because the Emperor is blocking communications. They think you're dead, and they're preparing for war. Jason felt his heart sink. War? Against the Alliance? That would be suicide. Yes, Queen Nixara said. And it would destroy any chance of saving my people. We need to find a way to contact Earth and stop this before it's too late. Jason looked from Kyle to the Queen. Everything had just become much more complicated than teaching aliens about human death rituals. What do you want me to do? He asked. Learn everything you can about the Emperor, Queen Nixara said. There are secrets here that few know. Find them. Only then can we save both our peoples. Over the next few weeks, Jason split his time between his official duties as emissary of death and secretly trying to learn more about the Emperor. It wasn't easy. Most aliens on the station wouldn't talk about the Emperor beyond simple facts. Everyone knew. One evening, Jason was in his room looking through files Kyle had given him about the station's history when his door chimed. Enter, he called out. The door slid open to reveal a woman he had never seen before. She was tall with dark skin and short black hair. She wore a simple gray outfit with no symbols or markings. Commander Boyd, she said quietly, my name is Olivia Bennett. We need to talk. Jason stood up. You're human. I thought there were only 3 of us on the station. Officially, yes, she said, stepping inside and letting the door close. Unofficially, I've been here for 2 years. I work for Earth Intelligence. A spy? Jason asked. Olivia nodded. I was sent to gather information about the Alliance. When communications with Earth were cut off, I had to stay hidden. How did you find me? Jason asked. Everyone knows where the emissary of death lives, she said with a small smile. And Dr. Harper told me about your situation. I can help you. How? Olivia pulled out a small device from her pocket. This will block any listening devices for a few minutes. We don't have much time. She activated the device and a soft hum filled the room. The Emperor is not what you think, she said quickly. He's not a single being. The metallic shell you saw contains the minds of many beings called the Precursors. They were one of the first intelligent species in the galaxy. One body with many minds? Jason asked. Yes, their original bodies died out millions of years ago. They transferred their consciousness into the mechanical form you saw, but now that form is failing. They need new bodies. Jason felt a chill run down his spine. New bodies? Like living bodies? Olivia nodded. They've been testing species for thousands of years, looking for compatible biology. That's why they collect tributes from new species. What happened to the other tributes? Jason asked. Though he was afraid he knew the answer. They're still here, Olivia said, in stasis. The Precursors study them, test their biology, look for compatibility patterns. And humans? Are we compatible? That's what I need to find out, Olivia said, and we need to do it tonight. I've found a way into the restricted areas of the station. If we can access their research data, we can learn the truth. Jason thought for a moment. I'll need to tell Kyle and Queen Nixara. No time, Olivia said, checking a small device on her wrist. My security access only works during the station's night cycle. We have 4 hours. How do I know I can trust you? Jason asked. You don't, she admitted. But right now, I'm your best chance of finding out what's happening and contacting Earth before a war starts. Jason made his decision. Let's go. They left his room and took a service tunnel that Olivia accessed with a stolen pass card. They moved through narrow passages where maintenance robots worked on the station systems. After 30 minutes of walking, climbing, and crawling through tight spaces, they reached a locked door. This leads to the restricted research section, Olivia whispered. She attached a small device to the door's control panel. After a few seconds, the door slid open. The room beyond was dark except for the glow of status lights on various machines. Olivia turned on a small light and led Jason forward. "The main research lab should be through here," she said. They passed through several rooms filled with strange equipment. Some looked like medical devices. Others had no purpose Jason could guess. Finally, they entered a large circular chamber. Jason gasped. The walls were lined with hundreds of transparent pods. Each pod contained a different alien, floating in clear liquid, eyes closed. "Are they dead?" he whispered. "No, just in stasis," Olivia said, moving to a control panel. "Some have been here for centuries." As Olivia worked on the panel, Jason walked among the pods. He saw aliens of all kinds, some like those he had met, others completely strange to him. Then he froze. In one pod was a being that looked almost human, except its skin had a slight blue tint. "Olivia," he called softly, "is this—" She joined him and looked at the pod. "A Velsari, an early form before they evolved the scales. This one has been here for at least 10,000 years, according to the data. The Queen never mentioned this," Jason said. "She might not know," Olivia replied. "Few people have access to this place." They moved to a large screen where Olivia began searching through files. Most were in languages Jason couldn't read, but Olivia seemed to understand them. "Here it is," she said after several minutes. "The compatibility study for humans." The screen showed complex diagrams of human DNA alongside another strange pattern. "What does it say?" Jason asked. Olivia's face went pale. "According to this, human DNA is a 97% match for precursor biology. That's the highest match they've ever found." "What does that mean?" Jason asked, though he had a feeling he knew. "It means they want to use humans as their new bodies," Olivia said. "They want to transfer their consciousness into human hosts." "All humans or just me?" Jason asked. "The report mentions large-scale application. They want all of humanity." Jason felt sick. "We need to warn Earth." "There's more," Olivia said, reading further. "The Velsari genetic disorder Queen Nixara mentioned? It was created by the precursors thousands of years ago. They engineered it as a control mechanism to keep the Velsari obedient." "So the Queen's people are dying because of the Emperor?" Jason asked. "Yes, and the cure exists, but the precursors won't share it." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed in the ceiling. "They've detected us," Olivia said, quickly downloading data to her device. "We need to leave now." They ran back the way they came, but when they reached the service tunnel, the door was sealed. "This way," Olivia said, leading Jason down a different corridor. "There's another exit through the medical section." As they ran, Jason heard strange sounds behind them. Looking back, he saw floating mechanical orbs chasing them. "Security drones," Olivia explained. "Don't let them touch you." They reached a junction where the corridor split in 3 directions. Olivia hesitated. "Left," she decided, pulling Jason with her. They ran down the left corridor and found themselves in a large open space. It was some kind of docking bay with small ships parked in rows. "Can you fly one of these?" Jason asked. "No need," Olivia said, pointing across the bay. "Look." Jason looked where she was pointing and saw something impossible. A ship with Earth markings was docked on the far side of the bay. "And not just any ship, it was an Earth military vessel. Is that—" he began. "Yes," Olivia said. "Earth has found us." "They've come for you?" As they watched, more alarms sounded. Announcements in multiple languages echoed through the station. "What are they saying?" Jason asked. "They're saying Earth ships have arrived and are demanding your return," Olivia translated. "They're threatening war if you're not released." Jason looked at the ship, then back at the data device in Olivia's hand. "We need to get to that ship. We have to warn them about the precursors." They started across the docking bay, staying low and moving from ship to ship for cover. They were halfway across when a familiar voice called out, "Commander Boyd?" Jason turned to see Queen Nixara standing near one of the ships. Her scales were dark red a color he had never seen on her before. "Queen Nixara," he said, approaching. Cautiously, "Did you know about the precursors?" Did you know they created the disease killing your people? The Queen's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Yes, I learned the truth long ago. That is why I brought you here. To use me? Jason asked angrily. To help end their rule, she said. The precursors have controlled the Alliance for too long. Your species has something they want, but you also have something the rest of us need. What's that? Jason asked. Your defiance, she said. Few species would dare challenge the Emperor as humans have. We need that strength if we are to be free. We don't have much time, Queen Nixara said. The Earth ships are demanding your return. If the Emperor refuses, they will attack. My people don't know what they're facing, Jason said. The precursors have technology thousands of years ahead of Earth's. Olivia checked her device. We need to get to the Earth ship now. Security forces are coming this way. The 3 of them moved quickly across the docking bay, staying hidden behind ships and cargo containers. They were almost to the Earth vessel when a voice boomed through the air. Stop! The voice was in Jason's head, just like when the Emperor had spoken before. Jason turned and saw the Emperor floating at the entrance to the bay. The living metal of his body swirled and shifted in angry patterns. The human tribute belongs to us, the Emperor said. Everyone in the bay could hear the voice in their minds. This is the law of the Alliance. Queen Nixara stepped forward. The law also says a tribute may leave if their homeworld comes for them. Earth has come for Commander Boyd. The Emperor's metal body rippled. Earth was not invited. They have broken the peace. You cut off communications, Olivia said. They thought Jason was dead. Security drones began to fill the bay, surrounding them. Jason knew they couldn't fight their way out. He had to try something else. Emperor, he called out. I know the truth about the precursors. I know you need new bodies because your mechanical form is failing. The Emperor was silent for a moment. Then, we have lived for millions of years. We created the Alliance. All that exists here, we built. That doesn't give you the right to take over other species, Jason said. To use them as new bodies for yourselves. It is our right as the first civilization, the Emperor replied. We brought order to chaos. Without us, there would be only darkness. The docking bay doors opened, and a group of humans in military uniforms entered. Leading them was a woman with short gray hair and the rank of admiral on her uniform. Commander. Boyd, she called out. I'm Admiral Samantha Carter. We've come to take you home. Jason felt relief wash over him. Earth had sent a rescue mission. But they didn't understand the danger. Admiral, he said, the situation is complicated. The Emperor is not a single being. It's many minds in one body, an ancient species called the precursors. They want to transfer their consciousness into human bodies. Admiral Carter's expression hardened. Is this true? She asked the Emperor. Humans are perfect vessels, the Emperor replied. Strong, adaptable, with compatible neural pathways. You should be honored. We found something on Mars, Admiral. Carter said, ancient technology buried beneath the surface. We've been studying it. The Emperor's form became very still. What did you find? We found precursor technology, the Admiral said. Including data on consciousness transfer, we know how it works. And we know how to block it. Jason saw the Emperor's metal body pulse. Rapidly, for the first time, the Emperor seemed unsure. You lie? The Emperor said. No species has ever discovered our secrets. We did, Admiral Carter replied. And we've shared this knowledge with every species in the Alliance that would listen. They all know the truth now. The Emperor turned to Queen Nixara. You knew of this? Yes, the Queen said. For too long you have controlled us. Used us. Created diseases to keep us weak. That ends today. More aliens began to enter the docking bay. Representatives from many species Jason had met during his time as emissary of death. They all stood behind Queen Nixara. The Alliance was meant to be a union of equals, the Queen said. Not slaves to the precursors. We want the cure for the diseases you created. We want freedom. The Emperor floated higher, metal tendrils extending from his body. You would challenge us? We who have lived for millions of years. We who built this station. We who control technologies you cannot even imagine? Yes, Jason said, stepping forward. Because there's something humans understand that you don't. Something I've been teaching as emissary of death. We know that all things end. Even you. The Emperor's metal body twisted in strange patterns. We refuse to end. We will live forever. Nothing lives forever, Jason said. But you don't have to end completely. We can offer you something different. A partnership? The docking bay went quiet. All eyes were on Jason. What do you mean? The Emperor asked. Instead of taking over our bodies, work with us, Jason said. Share your knowledge, help us grow. In return, we can help you find a new way to exist. Not by stealing bodies, but by creating new ones. Artificial bodies designed to last thousands of years. You would help us? After what we planned for your species, the Emperor sounded confused. Humans understand death, Jason said, but we also understand second chances. We know what it's like to fear the end. Your civilization doesn't have to die. It can change, evolve, become something new. Admiral Carter stepped forward. We found designs in the Mars ruins. Your ancestors were working on synthetic bodies that could house consciousness without taking over living beings. We can complete that work. The Emperor was silent for a long time. The metal of his body flowed more slowly now, almost calm. It has been so long since we considered any path but survival at all costs, the Emperor finally sighed. Perhaps there is wisdom in what you say. Queen Nixara moved closer to Jason and our people. The cure for the disease you created? If we agree to this new path, all cures will be shared, the Emperor said. All restrictions lifted. Over the next few hours, a historic agreement was formed. The precursors would share all their medical knowledge, including cures for diseases they had created. Earth would share what they had learned from the Mars ruins. Together, they would work on new synthetic bodies for the precursors that didn't require taking over living beings. As Jason prepared to board the Earth ship for the journey home, Queen Nixara approached him. You were never a tribute, she said. You were a catalyst. Your species will change everything. Jason looked back at the massive space station that had been his home for the past months. Will your people be okay? With the cure, yes, said. It will take time, but we will survive. And the alliance will become what it was always meant to be, a true union of equals. Will you be in trouble for your part in this? Jason asked. The Queen's scales shifted to a bright, happy blue. I will be remembered as the one who helped free my people. There is no greater honor, Admiral Carter called from the ship. It was time to leave. Will I see you again? Jason asked the Queen. Yes, she said. But not as emissary of death, perhaps as ambassador of life. Jason smiled and nodded. He boarded the ship and took one last look at the station through a viewport. As the ship pulled away, he thought about everything he had learned. Humans understood death in a way other species didn't. They knew that all things end eventually. But they also knew that endings could lead to new beginnings. It wasn't their technology or their military power that had changed the galaxy today. It was their perspective on existence, one that valued each moment because it was fleeting. Ready to go home, Commander? Admiral Carter asked. Jason nodded. Yes, but I'll be back. We all will. As the ship accelerated toward Earth, Jason knew humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. They would not come as tribute. They would come as equals.